Welcome to my presentation of a formative learning cycle about the surface area and volume of rectangular prisms. My name is Sophie Smith and I'm excited to walk you through my process. Within this formative learning cycle, there are three main learning targets addressed. The first, I can investigate and define the surface area and volume of rectangular prisms. When we decompose this target, our verbs are investigate and define with the subject of surface area and volumes of rectangular prisms. This indicated to my students my expectation for them to use their observations of patterns and models to determine a meaning for both surface area and volume and communicate that meaning through their responses. The second, I can find the surface area and volume of rectangular prisms using the formula. Once again, we identify the first verb, find and using, and the subject, surface area or volume of rectangular prisms, and formulas. To show mastery of this target, students are expected to apply the formulas to basic problems for given rectangular prisms. Lastly, I can apply my understanding of surface area and volume to solve real-world problems. The verbs, apply and solve, subject, surface area or volume of rectangular prisms, and real-world problems. This indicates the expectation that students apply their knowledge of surface area and volume into word problems or real-life situations. For example, wrapping a package or filling a pool. Within my classroom, we use a graphic format to organize our learning targets and evidence our learning. Here you can see an example of one stair step used for this unit. You can see in the filled-in example that we annotate our success criteria, aka learning targets, by circling the verbs and underlining the subjects. During the discourse of this practice, students discuss what kind of evidence they think they might produce for each success criteria and how they can model their understanding with mathematical models and reasoning. After the day's lesson, students return to their stair step and fill in the blank spots with evidence that they've mastered each criteria. These stair steps are a part of their math journals and can be referred to in the future as a reminder of learning or evidence of background knowledge. Due to the quick end of my school year and lack of time to implement my performance of understanding designed in Module 3, I used my traditional assessment to inform me of students' mastery. The unit test is a cumulative account of expected understandings of surface area and volume. It first has students describe in their own words both surface area and volume, and then explain their personalized process for finding each. They then move into skill-based assessment of concepts, being asked to identify both surface area and volume for 3 different rectangular prisms. Next, they show evidence that they can correctly identify which concept to use in 2 different real-life contexts. And lastly, they apply their understanding to a multi-step problem where they identify the cost and amount of material they need to build a flower bed. Each of these skills will lead the teacher to develop a firm understanding of their conceptual grasp over surface area and volume. Shown here is the performance of understanding that I designed as a final formative assessment and would have had the students engage in this open-ended question so that they had to defend their size choice of mailing box and with a set number of cubic inches. This would show evidence that students truly understand the connection and process. My traditional feedback form is to grade assessments and provide feedback on mistakes, misconceptions along the way. Correct answers receive smiley faces, while incorrect responses have notes on the reasons behind their mistakes. Advanced and proficient assessments usually only include smiley faces and a quick note about how proud of them I am. Proficient assessments include limited notes on their misconceptions or mistakes and key points for them to fix before they attempt a retake or remediation. Unsatisfactory tests include the most feedback and often ask students to see me privately to arrange for a conference or time for us to work together to fix their misconceptions. My students did well on this assessment and throughout the entire unit. When implementing this unit next year, I want to make sure I leave time for the students to remediate understanding and then participate in the performance of understanding. I also aspire to include the self-assessment I included in Module 5, feedback analysis, to help students make the connection between their own learning and the next steps that they can take to improve their understanding. Overall, this entire process has been very informative and has reminded me of the importance and value in effective feedback for the learning experiences of every student. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.
Created using Powtoon.